Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather for U.S. and Canada. So let's see what we have for the U.S. first. So we have a slight risk today on the east coast and northeast from Virginia to New Hampshire, in parts of New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware, in New Jersey, Connecticut, New York, Vermont, and other areas in Maryland and Virginia. So let's see this marginal risk from North Carolina to Maine, and this other marginal risk in Texas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, and northeastern Louisiana, and this other marginal risk from New Mexico to Wyoming. So the tornado threat is less than 2% in all the areas, but be aware, you never know. And the wind threat is 15% and 5% in all the marginals and slight. The hail threat is just 5% in the high plains there. So let's see here what they say. Damaging thunderstorm gusts are most likely and concentrated today over parts of the mid-Atlantic into the central southern New England. So be aware. Let's see now for tomorrow here. So we have a marginal risk for tomorrow, again in the high plains, parts of New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, and Nebraska and South Dakota, and the marginal in North Carolina, northern South Carolina, and southeastern Virginia. So let's see, the tornado threat is less than 2%, but always be aware. The wind threat is 5% in both areas, and the hail just in the plains, 5%. So let's see. Isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are possible Thursday afternoon across parts of central and southern high plains, as well as from Virginia tidewater across the eastern Carolinas. So be aware for tomorrow. For Friday, there's a big general risk of thunderstorms and just a marginal risk from northwestern Kansas to southeastern Montana. So be aware. 5% probabilistic. Isolated strong to severe thunderstorms are possible across portions of the southern central high plains on Friday. So be aware for Friday. Day 4 through 8 there's nothing, and fire threat is just some isolated dry thunderstorms possible. So in parts of the west today some isolated dry thunderstorms possible, and for tomorrow again there in parts of the west from like Nevada to Montana, Utah, and Idaho, and parts of western Wyoming. So let's see the model for today. We currently have all these showers and storms in Arkansas there, and parts of Missouri and Oklahoma, and then they will most likely move east and die off a little bit, but we might get a storm or two in Oklahoma later this afternoon, and some bigger ones in Texas there, southeastern Oklahoma and Arkansas, and some might be severe there and strong. They have that marginal risk there. So be aware there this afternoon, some strong storms possible. And in the southeast, some afternoon thunderstorms possible in parts of Louisiana, parts of southern Georgia, Florida, and even the Carolinas. But further in the east coast we have the slight risk. So let's see. So we'll most likely start getting these storms by this afternoon, like 21Z, and then they move across New York, Pennsylvania, and go northeast into Massachusetts and other areas. So they have the damaging winds as primary threat there, but be aware, some heavy rains and more stuff. So let's see, they have some more isolated strong thunderstorms in the Carolinas, maybe severe because the marginal risk goes all the way to South Carolina. So some strong storms there too in North Carolina, some other areas this afternoon. And let's see, in the west there, we just have some lots of monsoon showers and some storms in the high plains there because of that other marginal risk for hail and wind there. So be aware there too, some storms this afternoon. So let's see the excessive rainfall outlook. So there are 3 slight risks, one from Virginia to parts of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Maryland, and another one from Texas to Tennessee, another one New Mexico and Texas, and southern Colorado. And we have a marginal risk from Utah to Maine, and let's see for tomorrow. A slight risk in New Mexico, Colorado again, and a slight from North Carolina, Virginia, and a marginal from Texas to Delaware, and a marginal in the Midwest, no, in the Southwest parts of New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and Utah. For day 3, for Friday, we have a slight risk in New Mexico, a slight in the Carolinas, and a marginal from Texas to North Carolina, and a marginal in the Southwest again. Day 4, a marginal in the Southwest in the plains, and a marginal from Louisiana to Virginia. Day 5, for Sunday, there's a marginal in the Southwest, in the plains, mid-south, and parts of the Carolinas and Southeast. So be aware, this nothing. So let's see here. Precipitation for today, mainly in the east and the south, and in New Mexico and those areas. Let's see, some in Florida. Tomorrow, mainly in the east, some more heavy rain tomorrow there in the east, in the south, and some in the west. Let's see for after tomorrow. In the plains, it shows more rain there in the high plains and central northern plains, and in the southeast. For day 4, I think Saturday, it shows more in the plains and southwest and southeast. Day 5 for Sunday shows more throughout the south. Day 6, a similar thing, some more in Texas and Florida and some other areas. Day 7, more in the east and south and southwest. So days 1 through 7, a lot of accumulation throughout the east coast, southeast, central, south, those areas, and New Mexico, and Mexico as well. So be aware. Let's see what else. We have some massive scale precipitation discussions there for the storms with the heavy rain now in Oklahoma and Arkansas, in those areas. And let's see some heat news. So when is this? So this for this week and this weekend, I think. So we have the above average temperatures in the west, a little bit below average in the central areas, and some extreme areas of heat risk there. So be aware. Let's see the outlook here. So we have this for today, lots of 90s in the south and in the east, and all the way into Maine there, 100 in Texas and New Mexico, and also throughout the west, some 100s. For tomorrow, for Thursday, we have more 100s in the southwest and west, more 90s in the north and parts of the southeast. For Friday, we have lots of 100s in the west and 90s in the plains and the south. For Saturday, we have still some very big 100s in the southwest, like 117 even, and 100s all the way to Washington. So lots of 90s in the south, some 70s up there and some 80s. Let's see, for Sunday, some 100s, no, some 90s in the south and some 80s and 90s through the southeast. So still 116, 111 in the southwest, 106 all the way to Washington, even 113 it's showing there. So dangerous heat, be careful. For Monday, I think, let's see, still a bunch of 100s in the west, and 90s in the south, some 80s and 70s in the central. And day 7, finally, let's see, some 100s in the west, especially California and Arizona, Nevada, and more 90s further north and 100s. Still some 90s in the south. So let's see. So be aware of the heat. So this is the max wind gusts for today, not taking into account the storms that will have much higher winds inside them. So let's see. This is until Thursday at 9 a.m. A little bit gusty in parts of New Mexico, Arizona, mainly the mountains, I think, and parts of Oregon and other areas could have a little bit gustier winds. So let's see here. The hazards, we have some excessive heat watches there, right? Red flag warnings, heat watches, some air quality advisories, flood watches in New Mexico and Arkansas, Missouri, and heat advisories in Florida and mid-south, heat warnings in parts of the East Coast, and heat advisories. But this change all the time, so you can always come here and check if you want. So let's see for Canada now. First some hazards here, and then we'll take a look at the storm outlook. So these warnings here are mainly some heat warnings, because it's too early still for severe thunderstorm watches. So we'll show you the heat warnings and the other warnings, and then we'll show you the severe weather outlook in a second. So I have the heat warnings in the west, some daytime highs between 28 and 36 for the next 7 to 9 days there. So, and overnight lows 12 to 20 degrees there. That's Alberta. For Saskatchewan, some heat warnings too. A prolonged heat event is expected. Highs between 27 and 35 in parts of Saskatchewan. Further south there, more heat warnings. Heat warning. In British Columbia, some heat warnings. Elevated temperatures are expected, and there's a moderate risk to public health. So let's see. Daytime highs into the 30s. Let's see. More heat warnings in parts of British Columbia there. And further north into the Northwestern Territories, some air quality advisories for wildfires and heat warnings. Air quality statement, so be aware of the smoke from the wildfires and the heat. And in the east, we have probably some heat warnings there, parts of southern Quebec. So extreme heat can affect anyone's health. Okay, so the warm and humid air mass currently affecting southern Quebec with exit the area tonight into Wednesday night. So these heat warnings will likely end soon as the humid air mass goes away. But let's see here. New Brunswick, some heat warnings too, like 28 to 30 degrees, continuing possibly into Thursday, as more heat warnings in Nova Scotia, in New Brunswick, and in all those areas. Just heat warnings. So be aware there, and let's see some more forecasts. So this is the thunderstorm outlook for today there in Canada. In eastern Canada, we have some severe possible from parts of Quebec into New Brunswick and eastern Quebec and those areas, and general risk of thunderstorms through Newfoundland, parts of Nova Scotia, Labrador, and more in Quebec there. So let's see. Some heavy rain, strong winds, and a small hail possible. But the main threat today is heavy rain, because there's a lot of moisture in front of this cold front that will cause a lot of heavy rain. So be aware. So, and this is by Thursday morning. We can possibly have some severe weather tomorrow morning again in parts of Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and some other areas of Quebec there. So be aware tomorrow morning too. And this is the thunderstorm forecast for Thursday, for tomorrow. Some severe possible in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, eastern Quebec, and even Newfoundland there a severe storm or two possible, and the general risk of thunderstorm in yellow there going to Ontario too. So be aware for tomorrow, Thursday, and nothing big is expected in western central Canada today because of this big high pressure there, as you can see, bringing all those high temperatures there. But let's take a look if any storms are expected. So you can see some showers in Ontario, maybe a storm or two in Ontario today, but it's mainly in Quebec there. So you can see in western Quebec, going east, some storms possible. So let's see another model. It shows some rains and storms in Ontario there, going east into Quebec. But this model is showing some more rain going to southern Ontario and Quebec by this evening and tonight. So be aware, some storms possible there too. So let's see here for western for western Canada. So nothing big expected, just that low pressure in the Pacific is projected to go towards southern Alaska and parts of British Columbia, bringing some heavy rain to southern Alaska and British Columbia there, but mainly in Alaska. But no thunderstorms expected today for Wednesday. Maybe a pop-up storm or two in the valleys or in the prairies, but nothing very severe. Just a storm or two this afternoon. But it shows by midnight tonight, it shows maybe some more storms there. That's Alberta, maybe a storm or two. And for Thursday, nothing big. Still some rain in parts of Alaska and British Columbia, but it shows more pop-up storms there possible, like Thursday night and Thursday evening in parts of Alberta. But then Friday, we might have some severe weather again there, because we'll get more moisture from the Pacific there going into British Columbia. So this is by Friday, we might have more storms again, but today is quite fine. Let's see. So we can, in this map from the US, we can see southern Canada there. So it shows some storms in Ontario today, especially the ones in Quebec, in New Brunswick there, Nova Scotia. But by this evening shows more rain in Ontario there and some more storms in Ontario and Quebec. So be aware. Let's see here. Another model. So this is the HUR. It shows this afternoon there's some storms possible in Ontario, parts of Quebec. Yeah, and going to Thursday into tomorrow morning, still show some storms in Quebec there. So be aware, stay safe. Let's see just one thing here. Wait. So you can see the heat wave in the west there, going to Western Canada too, because of the high pressure and everything. Yeah, and this is it. So stay safe from the storms and the heat, and this is it.